create the bat purse, you will need a 5mm crochet hook, a stitch marker, a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors, and any type of black worsted weight 4 yarn. This is a 100% acrylic yarn called Caron Simply Soft. And I'm using Caron Simply Soft because I think it works out nicely for this purse, and it is a super affordable, easily accessible yarn that you can find in any craft store. So let's get started. We're going to begin by creating a magic loop or magic circle. If you're unfamiliar with this technique, I have a helpful tutorial linked below. Also linked below is the free pattern, so you can follow along with the written pattern here. Alright, so now you're going to chain 1 and single crochet 6 times into that magic circle. So you should have 6 single crochets, and then we're going to take the tail of the magic circle and holding these stitches straight, just pull to close that circle. Now we're going to single crochet 2 times in every stitch around. So work into that first stitch. Because these are unjoined rounds, it's hard to tell where your row begins and ends, so always mark the first stitch of your round with a stitch marker. And I'll single crochet a second time into that same stitch and repeat that around. Single crochet 2 times into each stitch. To begin row 3, I'm going to single crochet in that first stitch, and then don't forget to mark the first stitch of your round. Then I'm going to single crochet 2 times into the next stitch and repeat that same pattern around. Single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet 2 times in the next stitch. For round 4, you are going to single crochet in that first stitch. Don't forget to replace your stitch marker. Single crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet 2 times in the next stitch. So we're going to repeat that pattern around. Single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet 2 times in the next stitch. For round 5, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Don't forget to mark that first stitch again. And then single crochet 2 times in the next stitch and repeat that pattern around. Single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then single crochet 2 times in the next stitch. And I hope you're noticing a pattern here. This is the pattern for a basic crochet circle, in which each subsequent round, the number of stitches in between these increases, or single crochet 2 times in the same stitch, increases by 1. So the next round, instead of 3 stitches between each increase, you will have 4 stitches, then 5, 6, and so on. So continue that pattern around. So now I'm going to begin row 6, where the number of stitches in between each increase is 4. But when you look at our circle, you can see how we're starting to develop kind of a hexagonal shape, hexagonal, however you would say that, where you can see these points are kind of sticking out. These are where our increases are getting stacked one on top of the other. The pattern is written for this bat purse as just a regular crochet circle, and that's for simplicity. But I want you to know that when you're working a crochet circle, especially with these single crochets, and you're starting to get these points, to prevent that from happening, what you do is vary the number of stitches you're starting with. So we would be crocheting in 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and then working our next increase right on top of that increase from the previous row. So instead what you can do is just single crochet 2 times. Don't forget to replace that stitch marker in the first stitch. So single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then work our increase. Now you'll go right into the pattern for this round. So single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and single crochet 2 times in the next stitch, and work that around. Single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and single crochet 2 times in the next stitch. So I'm going to work my last increase of this round, And you can see we have 2 stitches left in this round. That's because we began with 2 stitches. So once you complete this round, single crocheting in those last 2 stitches, our increases are still properly spaced apart. We have an increase here and an increase here. There's 2 stitches that we began with and 2 stitches that we ended with, for a total of 4 stitches between those increases. So as you work this circle, just be aware that if you start seeing those points, vary the number of stitches you're beginning and ending the round with so that your increases are not getting stacked on top of each other. So going into round 7, we now have 5 stitches between each increase. So work single crochet in the next 5 stitches and then single crochet 2 times in the next stitch. And we're going to repeat this pattern around until the number of stitches between each of our increases is 8. Alright, so I've completed all 10 rounds for the body and now we're going to make the wings. You're not going to fasten off after you've completed the body. You're just going to chain 1 and turn. And you can remove the stitch marker at this point if it's in your way. And you're going to single crochet in the next 12 stitches. For row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn, and single crochet in the next 11 stitches. You're then going to single crochet 2 times in that last stitch. Chain 1 and turn. And you're going to single crochet in each stitch across. Once you've worked into that final stitch, you're going to chain 3. For row 4, you're going to single crochet in the second chain from your hook, and I like to always work in the back humps of the chain. And then you're going to single crochet in the next chain. And then you're going to turn. And when you're turning, there's a way that the fabric naturally just wants to turn. See if you turn this way, how it gets kind of twisted and it doesn't want to do that. Just let it naturally turn where it's going to, so it's not twisted. And now you're going to single crochet in the next 12 stitches. And single crochet 2 times in that last stitch of row 4. Then you're going to chain 1 and turn. So for row 5, you're going to single crochet in the next 15 stitches, which is all the stitches across the row except for that final stitch. We're going to leave that stitch unworked. So then we're going to chain 1 and turn. And for row 6, we're just going to single crochet all the way across in each stitch. Chain 1 and turn. And for row 7, we are going to single crochet across and then chain 3. So at the end of this row, you're going to chain 3. And then for row 8, single crochet in the second chain from your hook. And single crochet in the next chain. Turn. You're going to single crochet in the next 13 stitches. That leaves us with 2 stitches left in this row, and we're going to single crochet 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. Now for row 9, we're going to single crochet in the next 15 stitches, which we're working all the way across the row again, except for that final stitch, we're going to leave that unworked. Chain 1 and turn. And for row 10, we're going to single crochet in the next 13 stitches. And in those final 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. And for row 11, we're going to single crochet across and then chain 3 at the end of this row. At the end of row 11, I'm going to chain 3. And then moving on to row 12, you're going to single crochet in the second chain from your hook and in the next chain, turn, single crochet in the next 12 stitches. 12 stitches leaves us with 2 stitches left in our row, and we're going to single crochet 2 together, chain 1 and turn. For row 13, we're going to single crochet in the next 14 stitches, which is each stitch across this row, except again the final stitch gets left unworked. So work into that last stitch, chain 1 and turn. For row 14, we're going to single crochet 2 together, then single crochet in the next 10 stitches, which leaves us with 2 stitches unworked, and we're going to single crochet 2 together in those 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. For row 15, we're going to single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next 7 stitches. That leaves us with 3 stitches left in the row. We're going to single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches and leave that final stitch unworked. Then chain 1 and turn. For row 16, we're going to single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in the next 5 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together in the final 2 stitches of the row, chain 1 and turn. For row 17, we're going to single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next 2 stitches. That leaves us with 3 stitches left in the row. We're going to single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches, leave that final stitch unworked, chain 1 and turn. Row 18, you're going to single crochet 2 together and single crochet 2 together, chain 1 and turn. And for row 19, we have 2 stitches left. We're going to single crochet 2 together. And then we're going to fasten off. After you've fastened off, we are going to count 16 stitches and join our new yarn in the 17th stitch. So go to where the base of your wing ends and count 16 stitches. So that was 16 stitches, and in the 17th stitch, we're going to join our new yarn. Chain 1, and then we're going to repeat all instructions that we followed for the first wing. So single crochet in the next 12 stitches. So that was 12 stitches. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn, and just follow all the same instructions that we used for the first wing. So after you've completed your second wing, we're not going to fasten off, we're just going to go straight into working the border. So in the pattern, the free pattern's linked down below, there is a diagram of this bat right here with sections all marked off. And within each section there is a number. That number corresponds to the number of stitches that should be picked up within each section. You can use that diagram. It matches pretty exactly with how you're going to pick up stitches, but if you really don't like that diagram, you don't have to use it. The most important thing, however, is that your stitch counts around in the border match exactly with the second bat, because we're then going to seam these two together to create the purse. So we need to have the same number of stitches picked up along the border of both bats. So I'm going to be following the diagram in the pattern, and it has start here with an 8 circled right at this point. So what that means is we're going to work 8 stitches or pick up 8 stitches along this edge of the wing. So just go into wherever it feels natural, wherever there's kind of a natural gap, and I'm going to mark that first stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, And then at the tip of this first hump, it has a 3 with an asterisk. And that asterisk means all those 3 stitches are worked into the same space. So I will work 1, 2, and 3 stitches all in the same space. And what that does is it kind of turns that corner for us. So between this hump and the next hump, there's a 4. So we're going to pick up 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, whoops, and 4. Again, at the top of this hump is marked 3 with an asterisk, so we're going to work 3 stitches all into the same space. So 1, 2, and 3. And that turns the little corner for us. And then between the second hump and third hump, again, there's a 4, so we're going to pick up 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, this hump has a 3 with an asterisk, so we're going to work 3 stitches all in the same place. That's 1, 2, and 3. Then between this little section and the circle portion of the body, there's another 4, so we'll pick up 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then along this bottom section, it says to pick up 20 stitches. And this portion's a little bit easier because we have these stitches to work directly into. So just work in each stitch until you get to the opposite wing. So I've completed all 20 of my stitches. And now in this little section right here before these humps, we're going to work 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then at the top of this hump, it's a 3 with an asterisk, so work 3 stitches into the same place again. Work your 4 stitches. Then your 3 stitches into the same place. Your next 4 stitches. If you have to pull it back just to get your stitch count correct, then that's no big deal. Three stitches in the same place again. Which brings us to this side, and we're going to work 8 stitches up until the tip right there. That brings us to the tip of this wing, and this is marked another 3 with an asterisk. So we're going to work 3 stitches all in the same space. That brings us to the top of this wing, and we are going to work 11 stitches until we get to this top hump here. 11 stitches brings us to this top here, and then there's another 3 with an asterisk. So work 3 stitches all into the same place. Now we have this section before the top of the body, and we're going to pick up 5 stitches in this section. That brings us to the top, and we're going to work 16 stitches across there. So I wasn't happy with where I picked up stitches along there, so I just pulled it back and I'm going to redo it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that brings us much closer to working into these stitches. So work 16 stitches in this section. That brings us to this section right before the top hump of the wing, and we're going to work 5 stitches. which brings us to the top of that wing, and we have another 3 with an asterisk, so work 3 stitches in that same place. And for our final section, we're going to work 11 stitches across here. That brings us to the tip of the wing where we first started, and that 3 with an asterisk, we're going to work 3 stitches into the same space. And that completes our border. Over here, you're going to do an invisible join. Let me demonstrate that technique in case some of you haven't seen it. Fasten off. Once you've cut the yarn, just pull it straight through that stitch. Thread a tapestry needle. You're going to skip that first stitch and go into the second stitch through both loops. Pull your yarn. You're then going to go back to where the stitch is that yarn is originating from, and you can see the reason we skipped that first stitch is because we're creating a false stitch right here. So if we didn't skip that first stitch, we would have an extra stitch. So go back to where that yarn is coming from and insert your needle through the back loop only of that stitch and pull to close. And you can see how that creates a nice invisible join for us. So just fasten off then and weave in all of your ends, and then I will show you how to seam these two together. So to seam this purse, you're going to thread a tapestry needle, and then start over here on this wing. You're going to find the centermost stitch. So at the very top of the wing, remember we have that cluster of 3 stitches. Find the centermost stitch of that 3 cluster on each side. Make sure your wrong sides are facing together. The wrong side is the wrong side of the body. So this is the wrong side, this is the right side. We want those wrong sides together. And you're going to go through those 2 centermost stitches at the top of the wing. And pull all the way through. You need quite a bit of yarn to go all the way around the bat, so just keep that in mind. Then you're just going to whip stitch, matching stitch for stitch, all the way around the bat motif until you reach the centermost stitch of that 3 stitch cluster at the top of the wing on this side. So we're going to seam all the way around, match stitch for stitch until we get to right here. So whip stitch, you're just going through both stitches, creating a little loop that you pull through, and the next 2 stitches. And just repeat this all the way around the bat. So I've seamed all the way around my bat, so just the top is the opening. And you can attach whatever kind of purse strap or cording you have to this, or you can make an I-cord. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. I'm just going to go into the 2 stitches, front and back, next to where we seamed. And just yarn over and pull up a loop. Now I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to go back into those 2 stitches that I just went into, yarn over and pull up a loop. So we'll have 2 loops on our hook. And let me zoom in so you can see this a little better. So an I-cord is going to feel very funky and difficult in the beginning, but you will get the hang of it, trust me. So the first thing you're going to do is yarn over and pull through the first loop on your hook. You're then going to drop this first loop. I like to hold it with my 2 fingers here. Yarn over and pull through the remaining loop on your hook, which was that second loop on the hook. Then replace that first loop. Yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook, drop that loop, yarn over, pull through the second loop on your hook, replace the first loop. Whoops. Yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook, drop that first loop, yarn over, pull through the second loop on your hook, replace the first loop. And you just keep repeating this until you've reached the desired length of your strap. It's going to feel weird at first, but once you get a little bit of length in there, it's going to start going faster. So once you've reached the length of strap you would like, you're just going to yarn over, pull through both of those loops, and I'm going to go into these 2 stitches on this side right after we left off seaming, and just slip stitch through. And then when I weave this end in, let me show you that. I'm going to fasten off, pull through. Because this side over here is hanging on by just kind of a thread, when you weave the end in, I like to go back through those 2 stitches and then through the I-cord, just to secure it in place a little better, and do that a couple of times so that strap is super secure. Then you just weave in your ends. I hope you enjoyed watching.